So let's have a quick chat. We need to, or I'm looking for some feedback, I suppose. Welcome back to the big board. We're looking at EFS, that's the Army Group Center module, about to start turn 13 for the Soviets. And as you can probably see, the Axis forces have pressed up right up against the Dnieper River all the way along from just south of Vitebsk down to here. This is Rogachev here. And you find it hard going, and losses are mounting for the Axis, which is okay. Plenty to spare, really. We do have some threats, minor threats up to the north. There's potential for the Russians to push along here possibly and try and cut supply, although they don't have a lot of armor up there to make that an effective push. But even pushing the occasional infantry unit up into the more of the Germans approaching here, or reinforcing those meager forces, Soviet forces there is a chance to cause a little bit of confusion and mayhem, etc. And I'm sorry, Vitebsk is all the way up there. This is not Mogilev, it's whatever the other one is. And of course I picked the wrong hex too. Oh, this is a town with no name. Orsha, that's right. I'm a little bit further south than I thought I was. So Orsha and Mogilev here, and Rogachev down here somewhere, wherever I was pointing earlier on down here. So, and there's some minor reinforcements there as well. We were lacking supply and air this turn as the Germans to really have the sort of impact we would have liked to have had. A lot of successful attacks though. 3 armored divisions cornered against the Dnieper River and destroyed. 2 infantry divisions and a brigade of junk were knocked out, all in exchange for maybe 3 steps. So a pretty fair effort all in, but the ability to crack the river and crack it in force and with the bridge and units intact and not get into this sort of attrition-based warfare is looking kind of slim. A lot of these stacks they're meager. This is not too bad actually. I don't know. I guess what I'm thinking here is, while I'm having an okay time with this, I've got an enormous backlog of games building up, and I'm concerned that I am not putting enough time and effort into this game, and it's sitting. So I'll get a little bit of game time this week on it, perhaps. Next week I'm gone all week. The following week I'll be coming back and unwrapping several games that will be arriving. And I've got other things that I would like to get to. So I'm feeling the desire to move on from the EFS system. We've now got, a good, with this scenario at 13 turns, which is just shy of a third of the way through the full campaign. We got a good feel for the game system as it pertains to the AGC. Certainly played the heck out of Army Group South already and had quite a bit of fun with that. So I'm seeing more of the same here. And the only thing that's different here is that perhaps the static defense behind the river may pay some dividends for the Soviets and prevent anything much more than a minor victory, a sort of sub-historical victory for the Axis. So that's disappointing as a game player, because you expect to do better than the Germans did historically, and particularly given the asymmetrical nature of the game turn sequence of play, I feel like I've probably suboptimally played here. I did make some diversions through this rough terrain here, taking the path of least resistance, which meant that I had to be out of supply for a handful of turns with the Germans, which means no artillery, no air, and a malus on the die rolls. So that's always a bit nasty, but it really wasn't too bad. Yeah, as I've said before, I think the Germans can capably fight if they can get into the 7-1 to 10-1 column without supply and without artillery and without air. They can just crank along. So we are seeing that still here, but of course I do happen to have my division spread across a fairly broad front. I've got one division up here, kind of in reserve, sort of monitoring Vitebsk, looking for an option to maybe sneak over somewhere. In fact, I can see a road right there. Is that a road? That road? No, it's not. Let's see what's going on up there. Well, that might be interesting. It'll put us way out of supply and potentially threatened with that's really hard to read in there, isn't it? And there's a road that goes through there and through there, but not across here. I don't think that connects. No, it doesn't. So that's interesting. But that would potentially be terrible if we lost an entire division all by itself. It needs a little support. So something to think about. There's some forces up there we might be able to pull in here. I might consider doing part of my mech move and pushing a little bit closer up to Vitebsk up there, making an adjustment there. But anyway, I thought I'd share that with you. And why? Because hey, I'm looking for comment and feedback and your thoughts on whether you want to keep seeing this being played. You haven't seen all the video that I've done yet, so you're kind of getting a sneak preview of where we are getting to. But I want you to know that there are 7 or 8 videos outlining the gameplay so far, from the ones that have already been done through to turn 13. And so there's a significant amount of content that you get to see, lots of pictures. We'll get some blog stuff written up as well. So there's a good volume of content for us to examine. And I'll show you the dead pile. Here's the poor old Ruski's dead pile. It's substantial. Nasty. All right, there you go. Talk to you soon. Let me know what you think in the comments, please. If I hear back soon enough from you, we'll keep this going. If not, we'll begin the arduous task of packing it up, which is a game all of its own.